For those of you who have a daily practice, you know what a difference this makes to your life. Sometimes people think that you have to do an hour and a half every morning. I don't have an hour and a half. It isn't. Sometimes it's just 15 minutes. Sometimes it's just 10 minutes, 20 minutes. It doesn't have to be huge. We were talking about this before. It means that you show up in some way, shape and form to yourself every single day. You cannot give from an empty cup. It has to be an overflowing cup, not just half full and not full. It has to be abundant in its energy. The full cup is for you. The overflowing cup is for everybody else. This is why we are drawn to our sadhana so much, because we feel so in tune. It's one of the reasons for me, the most profound experiences when I first practiced was just this blissful state of peace. I just thought, where has this come from? Where has this knowing come from? My first experience in an ashram when I was 22 and listening to the mantras and the chanting and the harmonium and the tablas, and suddenly felt, gosh, everything's fine, everything's going to be okay. Where has this come from? Because mentally I could have sat with a psychologist for an hour and a half and still not reached that state. But I reached a state of this complete bliss, that grace was present, grace was all around. There was a great guy from the UK called Peter Owen Jones. He did a lot of documentaries on ABC through Compass, and he wrote a book called Letters of an Extreme Pilgrim. And one of the writings that he had was to God. And he actually wrote this lovely long letter to God, but said in a little bit of a way, as I experienced it at school, that at school you were always told that the divine was this really quite cruel, do anything wrong, you're going to be chastised, you'll be at the gates of hell for all eternity. And when you're 9, that sounds like a bloody long time. So I thought, well, I don't think I'm going to do anything like that. And you know, we'd have to go and see Father Bernard every Friday, and we had to confess, and if we hadn't done anything wrong, we just had to make it up, because otherwise we'd have to be sitting there. Well, you must have done something wrong. Surely you've done something wrong. No, I don't think I've ever done anything wrong. Not this week, anyway. Well, of course, you know, I would have done. But I, as Peter Owen Jones said, we were always taught that the divine presence of grace in our lives was something to be really feared, and we were watched all the time, and any wrong turn, even if it was a wrong turn, they'd have found it to be a wrong turn. And so of course that's where all the guilt comes in, because I must have done something wrong. Why? I just have. And he would say, I didn't experience you like that. I would sit under the trees and I would hear a bird, and I would hear a bird sing, and I would just know that that was you. I would know that that's your grace and your presence letting me know that you're all around me. Our sadhana does the same thing, like that bird did under the tree for Peter. It just shows you this beautiful, pure sense of love that just shows itself to you in moments where you feel you're at your most broken. It is then that the power of that grace comes to life. And when you are putting in that energy every single day, and the yogis would always say, they're always watching our practice, they energetically know where we are and what we're doing, not in a spooky way, in a loving way that nurtures and supports our practice. This is what we're doing. Every day we're just showing up. We're surrendering everything to a higher power that exists beyond us, but is also within us. So our sadhana is really crucial. Our practice is an opportunity for us to really commit to living a spiritual life. And it's you know, Mother Teresa didn't just help people Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. And if it's outside those hours, go to my secretary. She lived that way of being 24/7. Our spiritual life is 24/7. That doesn't mean we are holier than thou, neither would we wish to be that. But what it does mean is that we bring our spiritual selves, that essence of grace that exists within us to our daily experiences first and foremost. Bring those to the table when you have a dialogue with your family or your partners that you're sharing. Bring that level of dialogue into those conversations where the truth of your experiences is really needing to come to fore, and not the egoic, push-pull, fear-based, unreal language that doesn't serve anybody's highest good and just takes us longer to get to the understanding of our experience. When we do this, we start to open ourselves to an awakening heart.